Welcome to this channel. Learning R is fun. In the last video, we have seen atomic data types in R and one basic data type, that is vector. In this video, we will see all about the vectors. From atomic data types, R allows to create further data types such as vector, list, matrix, array and data frame. The simplest such structure is the numeric vector. Vector is an ordered collection of numbers. That is why it is called as a vector. The order is maintained through the index for the components. The four common types of atomic vectors are logical, integer, numeric or double, and character. Character includes string of characters as well. The two rarer types are complex and raw. I have shown some examples of four frequently used atomic vectors named vect1 to 4. Vect1 contains logical values. At index position 4, the data is not available and it is to be denoted by NA, both letters in uppercase. If there is a missing value in any type of vector, it should be denoted by NA. Even though NA is a logical value, R will manage to convert it to the same type as that of the vector. In vect2, we have integer values. Suffix uppercase L is required for R to treat these values as integers. Otherwise, R treats all numerics as doubles by default. Vector 3 contains double precision atomic data type elements, and vector 4 contains characters including strings. In today's RStudio session, let us cover creating vectors, accessing elements, appending vectors, some vector maths and some useful vector activity. Now let me take you to RStudio. We'll start our RStudio session, and for this session whatever code is required I have already got them in the editor. So we'll have to just execute them one by one and to understand the code. We'll create the numeric vector. First statement, that is at line number 3, V1 has been assigned 1:10. What is this colon operator? We'll see in the console. Suppose I say let's say 10:20. Then R gives me numbers from 10 to 20, that is from is 10 and 2 is 20. So it gives a sequence of numbers with increment in 1. Suppose I give 30:10. Then R gives me values from 30 to 10, that is from and to, and by sequence reducing by 1. Suppose I give 1.7 colon 10.8. Then R gives me starting from 1 but incrementing by 1, but it stops at 10.7, that is less than 10.8. That is how this colon operator behaves. It gives sequences. If we start off with an integer, then what we get is an integer vector. If we start off with a decimal, then we get a numeric vector. So we'll assign now this 1 to 10 to V1. Let's see what happens. A V1 vector has been created, that you can see here. It's an integer vector 1 to 10. 10 values are there and values are given here. We'll ask the structure of this V1. R tells me it's an integer vector with the 10 values 1 to 10. The same thing which is displayed in the environment also. We'll create another vector V2. We'll give now different values within the concatenation function. The function is represented by the function name followed by parentheses, in which you give arguments. In this case, I am going to give different numbers and I am going to tell R to create a vector V2. So let me see. V2 is now created. It's a numeric vector because R by default takes the numbers as double, that is numeric. And then it says it's 1 to 7, that means 7 values are there in this vector. And structure is going to give the same result, numeric vector, and result is available. Suppose we want all these numbers to be stored as integer, then we have to suffix the numbers with uppercase L, and that's what we do in the next statement at serial number 10. You get an integer vector. But you may be wondering, it will become cumbersome to put or suffix this L when large numbers are involved. So is there not another way? Yes, there is a way. So let us get the V2 vector back. It is a numeric vector. Now we'll do as.integer function. We'll apply this function to V2. Store the value in again V2. That means the V2 originally as numeric vector will be now replaced with the integer vector. Let's see what is V2. Yeah, V2 is an integer vector, and that is also confirmed within the environment. Structure, we can ask also in the console the same information. Now we'll go to character vectors. Here we are going to create two vectors. One is VC1, another is VC2. VC1 is for individual characters, VC2 is for a string of characters. Let's execute all this now. VC1 has been created, it's a character vector. We'll display that VC1, yeah. Then structure of VC1, we are getting the same information as in the environment. VC2, we'll ask VC2, that is only one element, and that is what? It's a character. We go for VC3, it's having three different strings, and that is taken as a character vector, as you can see in the environment, and we'll also see in the console and see in the structure also. Now let us move on and create logic vectors. So we'll create a logic vector to one single element, that is VL1. We'll assign true. Let us create this vector, and VL1 and value is true. The structure is a logical vector. Now next vector we'll use concatenation function and give different values, true, false, true, and on NA. So VL2 will create, and then see the structure, it's a logical vector with 4 elements, and then these are the values. Now we'll do concatenation of vectors, that is we'll create a vector using other vectors. Now we create a vector V4 using the vectors V1, V2, V3 which we already created. V3 is not available. V3 we have created or not, we have to see. We have not created this V3, so let us create this V3 also here. V3, say C of 10, 15. V3 is created. Now let's come back to creating the vectors. Yeah, V4 we want to create using V1, V2, V3. And now we will see what is V4. V4 is a continuation of the numbers available in V1, V2, V3, but there is no indication that V1 stops where, V2 stops where. We don't have the boundaries, and this process is known as flattening. Now let us go to the important step of finding the individual elements of the vector. How to extract individual elements. We start off with the VC3 vector which we already created. Now there are 3 strings, 3 elements. I want to take this first, second element only, VC3. We use a square brackets and give indices within it. Now in our case, we have given 2. The second index is going to point to DEF string. Let's see. Yes, we got that. We got the second element, but we have got 1 here. This only says that the result is again given in the form of a vector, and that vector has got only 1 value. So you have to understand this clearly. Now VC3, we are going to get 2 elements of the VC3, first and third element. So that first and third element have to be given in the form of a vector C13. That is going to give you a vector of 1 and 3, and that is the index, and that index is passed to VC3. So now we are going to get A, B, C, and the third one, that is G, H and I. If I don't give any index and simply mention VC3, it is as good as VC3 double square bracket or VC3 alone. Both gives the same result. If I give -2, it means I want to exclude the second one. So whatever is left in the vector, that will come. That is first and third will come. Yeah, first and third elements have been shown. If I want to leave the first and third element, then I have to put them in the concatenation and then put the minus sign. And that is the index now for VC3. So I will get only the second element. There is another method. We can use a logic. Let's start off with V2. And in V2, we will give the logic V2 greater than 30. And that logic V2 greater than 30, R is going to evaluate to see each element whether it is greater than 30. Now 1 is not greater than 30, 4 is not greater than 30, 23 is not greater than 30, 34 is greater than 30. So last 3 elements are greater than 30, therefore all 3 are true, remaining are all false. So V2 greater than 30, this statement gives us a logical vector. Why do I say it's vector? Because you see there is an indication here. This is the first element and naturally this second element, third element and like that. So in V2 we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elements. V2 greater than 30 also will give you 7 elements. Now if I want to select from V2 vector only those elements which are greater than 30, I can pass on that criterion inside as a vector. So this is the arrangement. So logical vector is passed, V2 greater than 30, the criteria is mentioned. Basically that works out as a logical vector and that vector is now passed as an index into V2. So V2 picks up only that. How does this happen? When you give a logical vector here, then this vector and the values in V2 are just mapped. So if the first element here is false, then the first vector in first element in V2 is false. That means that will not be available. Like that when we see only last 3 are true, therefore V2 last 3 values only will be taken out and then produced. So now we understood the logic, we can try this with another logic. Here V2 modulo operator 2 double equal to 0. That means the remainder should become 0 when you divide by 2. Basically we are asking even numbers. So this is the logic and we will apply in V2 and let's see how it operates. We got only 4 and 34, remaining are all odd, therefore we got the correct answer. Selecting specific members of the vector using concatenation is already we have seen. So we can give one more example of that. Second, fourth and sixth element. Second element is 4th, fourth element is 23, sixth element is 65. Now we will go to another concept. That concept is empty vectors. Vector function produces empty vectors. So now we will create a vector of 10 positions and we will say the vector type is, data type is numeric, and we will assign this created vector to variable A. It's all a vector and that's why index 1 is shown. So similarly we have got a character vector created and that are all empty characters. In the case of logical we are going to get all false. So the vector function takes the data type and the number of positions to be created. In the case of complex is going to create, you might have guessed by now, 0 plus 0i. Now we will go to another concept, that is comparison of the vectors, for which we will create two vectors. V1 is 1 to 10 sequence, V2 is 10 to 15. Now when we say set equal V1 V2, it means whether V1 and V2 are equal. That is the question. Okay. And now when we see 1 to 10 and 10 to 15, in V1 you got 10 values and in V2 you got 6 values. So obviously they cannot be equal. So result will be false. Okay. We'll create another one, V3 and V4, exactly same. So in this case, let us see. And now set equal gives a true. Suppose we want to find out which elements of vector v1 are available in vector v2. We can see in line number 88 and 89, vector v1 and v2, the element 10 is available in as the last element in v1 is the first element in v2. So basically only one element is available. So is element v1 v2, then the answer is false for 9 values and the 10th value is available. Therefore that 10th value is true. So we get a logical vector with the correct element being identified. There is another method for this, that is using the operator percentage in percentage. So v1 in v2. So it takes all the elements of v1 one by one and verifies whether they are in v2. You must get the same result. Got the same result. Now we will see some vector arithmetic. v1 will assign 100 to 110. So we got the result 100 to 110, v2 10 to 20. Now so that the information is available in the console for us to verify v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2, we are getting a value 110, 112. So it is simple addition. v1 minus v2, we get subtraction, say 110 and last value is 20. So when subtracting, we get 90. v1 star v2 is multiplication, so we get the value. Similarly, division, we are getting the values. Modulo, so remainder values are available. You can verify, that is v1 for the last element we can verify 110 by 20. So 5 is the quotient, 10 is the remainder, so we got the 10. Now we will understand another concept. The vector's lengths can be obtained using the length function. In fact, length function can be applied to any R object. Now in this case we are applying to vector. So let's say v3 is this set of values and length of v3 is 5. Now we will restrict the length of v3 vector to 3. So how do you do that? We say length of v3 and assignment symbol 3. When you simply say length of v3, it gives the length of the vector. But when you say length v3 and then assign 3 to it, it means the v3 is to be restricted to only 3 elements. This is how R understands the work. So now first 3 elements have to be retained, remaining have to be lost. Let's see. We got only 10, 20 and 34 in v3 now. The last values like 23 and 12 have been lost. You can also find the sum 64, that is 10, 20 and 34, and you add, you get 64. That means we are very clear. Now the last 2 elements have been truncated. Now if we increase, what happens? Now we will assign the length of v3 to 6. Okay. And then we will ask what is v3. The first 3 elements only have been retained in v3. Now 3 more NAs have been added because we wanted the length to be 6. Therefore, the data for 4th, 5th and 6th position is not available. So we understood a lot of concepts in R and we made a lot of objects now. We can remove these objects using remove list is equal to ls function. So all the objects can be removed using this command. In this video, we have seen how to create vectors, access components of the vector using indices or logic, do vector arithmetic, compare vectors and to find the vector lengths, type, etc. In our next video, we will deal with various operators in R. Till then, bye from me. Thanks for watching.